धीरे 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 धीरे, उसको क्या पता? अरे उसको कहाँ पता है? अरे यहीं पड़ी है। नहीं,
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, all the devotees, my humble obeisances to you too. So it's my great pleasure to introduce and welcome Dr. Nitaisevini Mataji. She was born in Mumbai in a Gujarati business family who were conventional followers of the Pushti Marg. Later, she with her family moved to Hyderabad in 1984, and since then she is closely associated with ISKCON Secunderabad. She later joined as a full-time devotee in 1997 and took initiation in 1998 in Atlanta, USA from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. She has completed her graduation in commerce, master's in education with PG diploma in management of voluntary organization. And she completed her PhD in education at Andhra University. Presently, she is the principal of Divine Touch School, who's actively involved in collection, festival coordination, congregation preaching, college preaching. At the same time, she shoulders this management responsibility with her husband, His Grace Samba Prabhu, who is the president of ISKCON Vishakhapatnam. She initiated Bhakti Yoga Residential Summer Camp at Vishakhapatnam, where school children stay as devotees for 1 week in the temple. And this has been a very, very successful program. And as you all probably already know, she's a multilingual speaker and delivers discourses in English, Hindi, Telugu, Gujarati, and Bengali. So it's our great fortune that, she'll be teaching this unit. And with great pleasure, I would like to welcome her. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving us your association. You're most welcome. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. My most humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagwan ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki jai. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Guru Parampara ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru Vrinda ki jai. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure and privilege to be part of your forum, and all the more, thank you for giving me this opportunity, not to teach, rather share something from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I was asked that I will be sharing with you some important points from 4 chapters, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So we'll start it very shortly. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayo Mudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavate uttama sloke bhakti bhavati naischiki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vedavyas Mahamuni ki jai. Guru Parampara ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Apne apne Gurudev ki jai. So, I'm sure you must have completed the other previous chapters, but however, before starting, I'll give you a little bit of a recap that how we did land in this, in the chapter 10. So as we all know, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Canto 2 are like the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And in Canto 1, there are around 19 chapters. And among these 19 chapters, a lot of important things have been discussed. It's more like an introductory to the whole magnum opus Srimad Bhagavatam, because here the characters of Srimad Bhagavatam are introduced. There is an introduction about who is Vyasadev and Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj and Vyasadev's Guru Narad Muni and the sages of Naimisharanya and the purpose of Bhagavatam and the definition of the Lord and glories of Bhagavatam and invitation to understand Bhagavatam and the pastimes of the favorite devotees of Lord like Pandavas and special stuti by Kunti Devi and Bhishma Dev and all is very nicely explained in the first canto of Bhagavatam. So we are here at the chapter 10, and previous to this, what is happening is Ashwatthama has killed the Upapandavas, Draupadi's 5 sons when they were sleeping, and you can close the fan. I've killed the Upapandavas, the 5 sons, and Draupadi is lamenting for the same. And Arjuna and Bhima, they get very angry and they actually bring Ashwadhama and tied like an animal. When finally they do bring Ashwadhama to Draupadi, she says, since Draupadi has a Vama Swabhava, she says, no, let's forgive him, because I don't want that creepy mother of Ashwadhama should cry like how I crying for my children. And at least I have my husbands around, but even Dronacharya has left the body. So the only Aadhar, the only support is her son. So how can we take him away? And also because he's our guru's son and he's a Brahmana, and we should not offend a Brahmana, because the wrath of a Brahmana can, destroy a dynasty. So, and how can we do that to him? So let's forgive him. But Bhima doesn't agree and Lord Krishna doesn't agree. And finally, after all that, they decide to take away his money and insult, which is an insult to him, and insult to a respectable person is equal to death. But however, Ashwadhama doesn't take it so lightly. He again wants to take a revenge, and he shoots a Brahmastra towards Uttara's womb. So now the situation is like this. The war is over. Everybody is happy. Krishna is about to leave now. And then Uttara comes running as Krishna is sitting in the chariot that, please save me. Looks like a fiery iron arrow is coming towards my womb. So that Krishna protects Parikshit Maharaj, who is in Uttara's womb. And as Krishna has protected again, time and again, Krishna has been a protector of the Pandavas. And once again, he has shown, how Bhakta Vatsala he is, how he protects his surrendered souls. So Kunti Devi becomes overwhelmed with gratitude, and then she starts a beautiful stuti. So she starts beautiful stuti praising Krishna. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. And with the beautiful statements she makes, that I'm a woman and I can't understand you, and you are, you come in a human form, but you are actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but you have put a curtain of Maya. People can't understand you. Time and again, you have saved us from so many calamities, and we are ever grateful to you. And now that everything is fine in our life, you are leaving, probably calamities were better, at least we could have your association. So similarly, she, with many such wonderful words, she glorifies the Lord. She asks the Lord, please cut my knots, of attachment towards my father's family, my husband's family. I want my attachment just on you, my Lord. And then after all this, she's unable to convince Krishna to stay back. But however, Yudhishthira Maharaj convinces Krishna that you please stay back for a few more days. So Krishna gets down from the chariot and again stays for a few more days. And then again, Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting that, oh, because of me, so many people died, such a big massacre happened, so many were left childless, so many are widowed, and just because to make me king, so many people had to suffer. So he's dying out of guilt consciousness, and Krishna is trying to explain to him, Vyasa Muni is trying to explain to him, and so many other sages are arrived there, and they're all trying to give him a talk or not to feel guilty, because it was not about personal enjoyment, but about rightful inheritance and about dharma. But Yudhishthira Maharaj is not convinced. And finally, Krishna takes Yudhishthira Maharaj to meet Bhishma, who is lying on the bed of arrows in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And then Bhishma starts giving instructions on Raja Dharma and on Varnashram Dharma, on Bhagavad Dharma, on Grihastha Dharma, and so many such wonderful things. And finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj is convinced and he becomes peaceful. And then Bhishma, having this opportunity of seeing Lord Mukhamukhi, means seeing the Lord face to face while he's leaving his body, is so happy. Finally, the final exam went so well. He's able to see the Lord. And then, of course, Bhishma also offers his choicest of prayers to the Lord, which is called as the Bhishma Stuti. And of course, one of my favorite verses where he says to the Lord with a lot of command. So, my Lord, please wait for me as I leave my body. So he says, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshataam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomi Aham प्रसन्नहासारुणलोचनोलसात् मुखं भुजोध्यानपथश्चतुर्भुजम्. So he says, my Lord, wait upon me. Don't go away. As I leave my body, Kalivaram, I want to see you in the forehand form. So just stand there, don't move. And with such an authority, he tells these words to the Lord, and which shows that how much of bhakti or devotion he must have rendered to the Lord, that today he is able to confidently tell the Lord, don't move. It's not even a request, it's in command. Don't move. I want to see you when I leave my body. So like that, and then the Bhishma Stuti ends there, and then as the sun enters into Uttarayan, Bhishma leaves his body, and then the Pandavas, they complete all the funeral and rites and whatever has to be done, and they go back to their kingdom. Now comes our chapter 10 here. What exactly happens? Now we are starting chapter 10, departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka. So now everything is fine. Bhishma has left the body and everything is settled. So now Krishna decides, okay, now it's time for me to go. So this is where we start, where Krishna is about to make a move, and how the Pandavas arrange this whole farewell for Krishna. So the whole chapter is based on how Krishna is leaving and what is happening when Krishna is leaving, how somebody is crying, how there are some musical instruments being played, how some of them are glorifying Krishna, how some of them are fainting because of separation from Krishna, and so many such wonderful things will be described in this chapter. And the chapter basically starts with a question by Saunak Muni, who is very curious to know that, okay, all these things happen. Now what? How is Yudhishthir Maharaj's behavior? How did he rule the kingdom? And what exactly happened after, when after Bhishma left the body? So these chapters are pretty important because, we see in the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami explains about the 64 qualities of Krishna. And among that, one quality of Krishna is that he is Bhakta Vatsala. He is the one who protects the devotees who are surrendered to him. And in these chapters, we literally see that happening. Whether we see chapter 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In the 7th chapter, we see how he protects the Pandavas, because Ashwatthama also sends Brahmastra towards Pandavas. And when he does that, Arjuna goes running to Krishna and he says, I'm unable to understand what is this fiery arrow coming towards us. And Krishna says, oh, it is Ashwatthama who has directed a Brahmastra towards you. So you also send a Brahmastra. And finally, Arjuna also sends a Brahmastra. And then after both the Brahmastras meet each other, then Krishna asks Arjuna to retract both of them, because Ashwatthama did not know how to retract Brahmastra. So we see in the chapter 7, Krishna has protected Pandavas. And then we see in the chapter 8, Krishna has protected Uttara. And, and have given a hearing to Kunti Devi's stuti. Then in chapter 9, we see Krishna has protected Bhishma, because the greatest protection for a devotee is not that Krishna stops the devotee from leaving the body or protects his material body, but the greatest protection is if Krishna is present either in their memory or physically when they are leaving the body, and then take them back home, back to God. It is the actual protection. So we see in chapter 9, he protects Bhishma. And then we see in chapter 10, he reciprocates loving feelings towards the devotees at Hastinapur. And then we see in chapter 11, he reciprocates loving feelings with the devotees at Dwarika. So we see that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is all about Krishna's reciprocation towards his devotees, how he loves them and how he reciprocates towards them. So here, coming to the first verse, Saunako Vacha Hatva Swariktaspridha Atatayino Yudhishthiro Dharmabhritam Varishtha Sahanuje Pratyavarutta Bhojana Katham Pravita Kimaksharit Tataha. Translation: Saunak Muni asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaj Yudhishthir, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. Actually, this chapter 10, it has almost all 36 verses. And in the 36th verse, we see the first to 6th verse is mostly about explanation of Yudhishthira's kingdom, how prosperous it was, how happy the subjects were, how in Prabhupada says he was ruling like King Indra. And then from verse number 7 to 19 is about how Krishna is so attractive, how everybody is feeling separation from him, how he's honored, how the pleasing talks of the Hastinapur ladies are more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. And then from 20 to 30 is about how, the Hastinapur ladies are glorifying the Lord, that how Lord descends into this material world and what happens, and how fortunate are the Dwaraka queens, and how fortunate are the Mathura Vasis, and how fortunate are the Vrindavan Vasis. And then from verse number 31 to 36, it's about how Lord accepts their greetings by giving them a smile in response, and how Yudhishthira, he arranges for various defenses, the whole, the whole procession which follows the Lord with elephants and horses and soldiers, and how grandly they bid farewell to the Lord, and how all of them accompany the Lord to Dwarka. So this is how the flow of the chapter is. So coming to our first verse is very, very beautiful verse, because Sanak Muni is asking such an intelligent question. Because there are two reasons why he's asking this question, that how is Yudhishthira Maharaj ruling his kingdom? Because the first doubt in his mind is that probably Yudhishthira Maharaj is so morose because of all these killings, and because it was not only about the army getting killed, the soldiers, but his own relatives and his own uncles and cousins and so many people left body, his loved ones. So he was morose. So in that stage of moroseness, was he able to rule the kingdom nicely or not, was his concern, Sanak Muni's concern. And the second thing is, if we want to know the character of a person, we can know only when the person has power and position. How does he behave at that time? When we don't have anything, it's very easy to be humble. But when you have everything in the world, and if you still are equipoised, and if you're still humble, and if you still stick to your principles and you don't compromise, then that is your true character. So Sanak Muni wanted to know, okay, Yudhishthira is great, nice, pious, okay, because there are so many problems in his life. He was going on, he had to be in exile, and then incognito, and then he lost the gambling game, and then he got Indraprastha, the Khandavaprastha, which was not so opulent, and there were so many struggles in his life. Okay, he had so many problems. So at that time, he was surrendered to the Lord. He was having all bhakti. He was humble, and he was so kind and fine. But now, when he's become the king of the whole world, does he have the same behavior? Does he have the same mindset, or is he become egoistic now, or pride, or full of pride now? As they say sometimes, morality is absence of opportunity. Sometimes people may look or behave morally because they don't have an opportunity, but when they get opportunity, are they still following the same principles? That is very important. So he wanted to know, how is he, now how is he after everything he got? So usually if you want to know the character of a person, we need to know what he does when nobody is around. When people are around, somebody may be a very good he may present himself very nicely, he may conduct himself very nicely, but what does he do when nobody is around? Then we know what's the real nature of the person. Because those who are devotees of the Lord, they are conscious of the Lord all the time. It's not that only in a sabha, it's not that only inside the temple hall, it's not that only when they're in association of devotees. They are conscious of the Lord every moment, even in the wherever they are. I'm reminded of this pastime of Kanakadas. The famous Kanakadas, the Udupi temple talks about him so much, how the deities of Udupi Krishna just turned around to give darshan to Kanakadas. So we're talking about that Kanakadas. So when he was in his early times, when he was getting trained under his guru, once his guru gave an exercise to all the students that why not, everybody got a banana to eat, and guru asked that eat it in a place where nobody sees. So everybody like tried their best, somebody inside a cave or inside some lonely place or on the top of a tree or under a tree, and finally everybody comes back and oh yes Guruji, we ate the banana. But Kanakadas comes back with the banana. He said, I could not. And then Guru is asking, why couldn't you? Everybody finished the task. And he said, I didn't find a place where Krishna is not there. Krishna is watching me all the time. So how can I, wherever I was trying to hide and eat, I know, but Krishna is there. And that way his guru proved to the other disciples who were very envious of Kanakadas that just see how higher Kanakadas consciousness is. So those who are Krishna's devotees, no matter what situation and where, they are always conscious of Krishna, whether they are high in life or they are going through rough weather. Krishna is always in their mind. So here is asking, so how did he rule his kingdom is what Sona Krishi is asking. We will go to the next verse. Suto uvacha vamsham kurur vamshadavagni nirhritam samro samrahayitva bhava bhavano hari niveshayitva nijarajya ishvaro Yudhishtiram Pritamana Bhavovaha. Sutta Goswami said, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So Sutta Goswami is replying now what happened. Everything was fine. Lord Krishna, who is the maintainer of the world, he was very happy that finally he had Yudhishthir, as a king for this whole planet, and how the Kuru dynasty, which was destroyed by the bamboo fire of anger. Now, why this analogy here is because just like the fire in a forest is caused by the movement of the wind. But it's not that the wind actually makes or does something. It's just that the wind moves and the bamboo, there is a friction between the bamboos and the fire happens. So here, it's not that Krishna made the war, but actually Krishna is the one who is the cause of the war, because everything happens according to Krishna's desire. So now Krishna was very happy because somewhere he is the one who we can't say he directly participated in the war, but he is the one who was cause of everything. So just like the wind is the cause of the forest fire, Krishna did all this. And why did he do it? In purport, Krishna says, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that the Lord did like this because he wanted that a bona fide representative of the Lord should rule the world. That is what Krishna wanted. And that is why he made this arrangement. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was a pure devotee, and he was qualified to rule the world. He was a bona fide representative of the Lord. In every situation, he never gave up his servitor attitude. He never became he became proud about his opulence. He was always in the mood of a devotee. Actually, we see that the Lord tested Yudhishthira Maharaj 2 times. One time, Lord took away everything from Yudhishthira Maharaj. He lost the gambling match. Twice he lost the gambling match. Everything was taken away from him. First of all, his father was taken away. Then they were, put in such a situation, Laksha Graha, where Duryodhana actually tried to burn them alive. And then finally, they got Khandav Prastha, which was completely, wasteland. And somehow they developed it. And then they were invited for gambling match where their wife was insulted. And then again, they were called for a gambling match where everything was taken away from them. So Lord tested Yudhishthira by taking away everything from him. How is he behaving? And then again, Lord tested him second time by giving him everything. Lord was personally present in the war, and he helped the Pandavas and guided them and morally supported them and gave them the right intelligence and made them win the war and made Yudhishthir the king. He had the opulence more than Indra. So Lord gave him everything, but he was still same. When Lord took away everything, he was same. When Lord gave everything, he was same. In both the situations, he did not change. And that is amazing, because we are tested for our humility during the time of success, and we are tested for our consistency in time of failure. Even we fail, are we consistent in protecting the principles, in following the principles, or are we compromising? So Yudhishthir Maharaj, in every situation, it's not that when situations were not good and he was in the forest, he thought, okay, anyway, Lord has taken away everything from me. I'm not going to follow dharma anymore. I'm also going to take up cheating and I will do that. He never did that. In both the situations, he was a protector of dharma, and he never compromised on principles. So he succeeded in the test. And similar test was taken by Lord Ram for Sugriva. But Sugriva failed. When Sugriv got all the opulence, he forgot about Lord Ram, and he forgot about his friendship, and he forgot about his duties. And then again, Lakshman had to go and remind him, and Hanuman had to go and remind him. Of course, by giving the example of Sugriva, we are not trying to demean him, or because his forgetfulness also was a circumstantial forgetfulness, and we can't take it as a yardstick to measure or judge him. It is just that for us to learn lessons. So yeah, this can also happen, that can also happen. Like, we want to become Sugriva when Lord gives us opulences and forget him, or do we want to become like Yudhishthira Maharaj? In every situation, be equipoised and keep Lord in our remembrance, and withhold the principles of dharma. So here Prabhupada is saying in the purport that Lord wanted that Yudhishthir Maharaj should rule because what's the purpose of Lord actually? The purpose of Lord is he wants to reclaim the jivas. He wants that all of us, everybody, should go back home, back to Godhead. Now, how is that possible? It's only possible if there are some able administrators. When the administrator or the head is an able person, he will guide others also in Krishna consciousness. Like we see, tomorrow is Ekadashi. I'm reminded of one very beautiful Ekadashi story. I think it is concerned with Rama Ekadashi. There is this pastime of Rama Ekadashi, that how Muchukunda Raja's daughter Chandrabhaga was married to a king called Shobhan, and he was physically very weak. But Muchukunda Raja was so particular about Ekadashi that just a day before Ekadashi in his kingdom, there used to be drums beaten and announcements made. Tomorrow is Ekadashi, so nobody is supposed to take grain. So much so that in his kingdom, even the elephants and the horses and the animals were also supposed to fast on Ekadashi. But Chandrabhaga's husband, he was very weak. So he told his wife, if I do the Ekadashi, I will die, But she said, no, since you are here at my father's house, coincidentally during Ekadashi, you can't avoid it. You'll have to do it because that's how the rule is. My father makes everybody do Ekadashi. So, of course, it's a long story. But what we need to take from this story is, if an administrator is an able administrator, if an administrator is a devotee, he will make sure everybody, like Muchukunda Raja, he made sure everybody did Ekadashi. He will make sure everybody is Krishna conscious. He will make sure that everybody is following the principles of religion. So that is why Krishna wanted that Yudhishthira Maharaj should be the king. If Duryodhan was king, he would not have helped these citizens to be Krishna conscious, and Krishna wants to reclaim the souls, and he wants somebody to help him with that. So here, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, the Lord was fully satisfied when King Yudhishthira was on the throne, and the seedling of the dynasty of Kuru, in the person of Maharaj Parikshit, was saved. The Lord was so happy that yes, Parikshit is saved, Yudhishthira is the king, now everything is going to go nicely. So the Lord exactly knows who needs to live, who needs to do what is whose role. Like we may think Lord, one of the quality of the Lord is that he is equal, sama to everybody. Then why was he not sama to Duryodhana, and why did he side on the Pandavas side? But Lord exactly knows who needs what kind of treatment. Like I'm reminded of this very beautiful story that Prabhupada used to often say, that how there was this one sage who was moving around the villages and different kingdoms, and he was blessing people. So when he went to a king, and as soon as the prince bowed down to him, he said, Rajaputra, Rajaputra Chiranjeevi. Oh, the son of king. Oh, you should live long life. And then a sadhu, a muni's son, bowed down to him. Then he said, Muniputra, Muniputra Majiva. Oh, you should die. And then when a butcher's son touched his feet, he said, Majiva Mamara. Please don't die. Please don't live. And then when a sadhu's putra touched his feet, he said, oh, you should, what do you say, whether you live or whether you die, it doesn't make any difference. So people were surprised, how come he's giving different kind of blessings? So the purport to this story was, he wanted that the Raja's putra, the son of the king, he should be Chiranjeevi. Why? Because as long as he's in this material world, he's going to enjoy the opulence of his father, all the Aishwarya and in the Raja Bhavan. But the moment he dies, it's not going to be good for him. If he hasn't used his wealth for serving Krishna, he hasn't made good use of what, given charity, then he's going to suffer. So as a soft-hearted saint, he's helping him by giving him a blessing that please don't die, live Chiranjeeva as long as it possible, so that you can enjoy. And to Muni, he says, Muniputra Mahajiva. Oh, better you die. Why? Because the son of the Muni, he's so austere, gets up in the morning at 3 o'clock, takes cold water bath in a lake, and then serves his guru's ashram and Guru Patni, and so much austerity, hardly eating anything, doing so much tapasya. Oh, you better die quickly because you're accumulating so much good fortune that your next life is going to be wonderful. So you're doing so much austerity, so better you quickly die so that you can get a better life. And then to the butcher's son, he says, Ma jiva mamara. Hare Baba, you should not live. Because if you live, you will keep on doing more sinful activities by killing innocent animals. And if you die, oh, it will be suffering because you'll be taken to the court of Yamaraj and you will get so much punishment there. So better you don't die and better you don't live. And then he says to the devotee's son, he says, Jivova Marova. Oh, whether you live also, you live a happy life because you are serving Guru and Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna and living a wonderful life, taking nice prasadam, serving, making others devotees, preaching. What a wonderful life. And if you leave the body also, wonderful. You'll go back to Goloka. So whether you live or whether you die, Jivova Marova, it is same for you. So like that, Krishna has his own plan. If in the, why am I mentioning this is from the preaching point of view. Many times somebody may ask, as Krishna was Supreme Lord, why didn't he stop the massacre? So many people died, and widows and Varna Shankara and children were rendered fatherless. So Lord is supreme merciful. So why didn't he stop the war? So we can always quote this, that no, there is a reason behind, maybe they're going to have better life because they died in a war, and Kshatriyas, when they die in the war, they get better loka. So like that, Lord has his plan, because just like this sadhu, he gave different blessings, but behind the blessing, the common point is he's everybody's well-wisher. So similarly, Lord is everybody's well-wisher, and whatever treatment he's giving to everybody is he wants to help them ultimately. So then coming to the next verse, Nishamya bhishmoktamatha chuttoktam pravrete vignana vidhuta vibhrama Sasa gamindra ivaji tashrayah paridhyupantam anujanuvartita. Maharaj Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Dev and Lord Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus, he ruled over the earth, the seas, and was followed by his younger brothers. Now, this is also a very important verse because here, Yudhishthir Maharaj ruled, okay, but how did he rule is explained here, which is very important. Because in those days, though the Kshatriyas were rulers, they were always guided by Brahmanas and they always did things to please Guru and Krishna. They were not acting whimsically or they were not doing things on their own. They were always working under the guidance of Brahmanas and the guidance of Guru. So here he is also clarifying that Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was guided by two people in his life. Who are those two people? Achyuta, that is Lord Shri Krishna, and Bhishma. Bhishma is, say, Guru, because Achyuta is the supreme Lord and Bhishma is the servant of that infallible Lord, a representative of that Lord. So he says he was guided by these two people and he did whatever was to be done to please them. So this is wonderful. Otherwise, sometimes when somebody gets position and power, they may start, they may become eccentric and they may start acting whimsically and follow their, and follow nobody and do whatever they like. But this was not the case of Yudhishthira. He was a pious king and he did things as a matter of duty, not because of lust or driven by any desire. And he was assisted by his brothers. It's like, in the material world, we see that when the father becomes old and the property is divided among children, there is almost all the time a quarrel between the brothers who will take what, and there's so much fighting happening. But here we see the Pandavas had such a wonderful cooperation among themselves. And it's not like the younger brothers were envious of Yudhishthira, neither Yudhishthira was envious of them. They very happily cooperated with each other. We see that even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, it's not that Yudhishthira feels envious and, why are you speaking Gita to him? Why not to me? Because even if we win the war, I'm the one who's going to be the king, not Arjun. So what's the point of telling Gita to him? Tell it to me. Or neither Arjun fought that you spoke Gita to me and I'm the one who actually fought the war very nicely. And why is Yudhishthira made the king? It was not like that. Nobody was envious of anybody. They were very happy on whatever attention they were getting from the Lord. It's like neither Yudhishthira was envious that why Arjuna is getting so much affection, and neither Arjuna was envious that why Yudhishthira gets to be king. So that's a wonderful point, even for us as devotees, that we shouldn't get envious of other devotees around us. Sometimes, some devotees may get more importance from Guru Maharaj or more importance from temple authorities or something like that. So we shouldn't feel envious about it. Oh, why I'm the one who's doing more service actually, but I don't know why he gets all the time recognition. So it's not like that. Krishna knows exactly whom to give what and how much of recognition. Even if we sometimes feel that our service has not been recognized, we should understand that probably that's good for us. Maybe if our service is recognized, we may get pride or we may become proud about it. Maybe Krishna knows what is required for us. That's why he gives us only that much as we can digest. More than that would make us, proud or make us arrogant. So he just gives it in the right quantity. So here, not only that he's, autocratically doing whatever he wants to do, he has divided among his brothers and everybody is ruling cooperatively together. And that is very important. Guided by the Brahmanas, not that I will do whatever I want to do. He was guided and he was regularly taking feedbacks. Taking guidance means taking feedbacks, which is so important for the leaders. Leaders have to regularly take feedbacks. Just like, If we want the fire to be on, the fire needs to be fired. That means the fire needs to be kindled. Otherwise, smoke will come out. If we want to be in that spirit and if we want to go further, we regularly need that feedback, corrections, changes, and then move a step forward. And that's how it goes. And that's what Yudhishthira Maharaj was doing. He was here, you see in the page number 549, here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Maharaj Yudhishthira was instructed by Bhishma Dev and the infallible Lord. Therefore, he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. And in the corresponding next para, Srila Prabhupada said, Yudhishthira had no ideology of his own. This is very important. He did not manufacture his own ideology. Whatever is being given to him in Guru Parampara by the Brahmanas and the Sadhus, Guru Sadhu Shastra, he was following it. And that is so important because we are all imperfect. And if as imperfect people, if we try to make or manufacture some new ideologies, it will not work. For time being, it may seem that yes, this is working and it's an improvement over the previous one, but later on it comes, when the whole circle comes back, we understand that it's not working. For example, in the olden days, the concept was, there is a verse in Sanskrit that up to 5 years you give affection to the child, and after that you have to discipline your child, and after that you become a friend of your child, and that is how it has been given. But the modern ideology is that you become a friend of your child from the beginning. You don't have to discipline, you can pamper them. And now what has happened because of that modern ideology, where the parents are fearful of children, they are not able to discipline them. Like, for example, in the US, the rule is that you can't hit your child, or you can't discipline your child, because the child has access to the helpline number, and the moment if you touch the child, they will just call the police. Now somebody may think that that's the right thing to do, but of course I'm not talking about abuse and all. That's a very very extreme cases, but in general, parents should have that freedom to discipline the child. I am reminded of this real life story of a grandmother who went to America for the first time, and she had no idea about such rules, and she ended up twisting the ear of the child, probably because he did something which was not right, and the child immediately called the police, and the policeman came and arrested the grandmother, and she was shocked that what did I do. She called her son, I don't know what happened, they're just arresting me and taking away. In fact, she started slapping the cops also, because in India it was so normal, just to maybe a twist a ear, or just a little bit of okay, don't do this. But in America it is considered to be a crime. So there are so many such ideologies which have been manufactured by the modern day people, and then ultimately they come back saying that what was in previously done was the right thing to do. Like we see with the farming also. Initially the farming was done with the cow dung and natural organic farming, but then they started using chemical fertilizers. So now the whole circle comes back. Now they're again back to organic farming. So like that, so many such things, they start something new and then again they come back saying, no, that was actually what we were following previously was the right thing to do. In fact, who was telling me the other day that in the previous time in the school, when you don't do your homework, the teacher used to ask to pull your ears. You just have to pull your ears and stand there for half an hour or something. And now they say that it's actually a very wonderful exercise. If you just pull your earlobes, actually your brain activity increases. So that the punishments in those days were also designed in such a way that it helps you in your personal life. So anyway, not getting into that. So the Yudhishthira Maharaj did not create something on his own. He just followed sadhu and shastra and pleasing Guru and Krishna. So here he says, an imperfect human being cannot create an ideology accepted to everyone. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is a person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is fool's paradise. So very important point is mentioned here that it's not that, government is ruling means who is ruling? The person is ruling, and that person has to be perfect. And how can the person be perfect? We are not perfect, but if we follow the perfect Supreme Personality of Godhead and his instruction, then we also become perfect. So he says that if the government is ruled or headed by a foolish person, then everything will be spoiled. No, I'm reminded of this one funny story. There was this guru and disciple, and they were just roaming from different parts of the country. They were going to different kings and visiting them. So when they reached one particular kingdom, as they entered the kingdom, there was a nice market, like a hatta, like a marketplace, and they were selling a lot of things. So this guru and disciple, they went to purchase something, and to their utter disbelief, these people were selling dry fruits cheaper than the vegetables. So the almonds and cashews and everything was damn cheap. 5 rupees kg is cashew and 10 rupees kg almond. And whereas the green leafy vegetables or potatoes or tomatoes were very costly. So immediately the guru told his disciple, let us run away from this place. This is not safe. The disciple said, not safe? I feel it's heaven. Such a wonderful place. Here they're selling everything in such cheap rate. They don't know what rate should be for what. And I really want to stay in this place, happily eat dry fruits and eat everything, so less cost. Then the guru said, no, you're not able to understand. When foolish things are happening means the king here is foolish. We should not stay with foolish people. It'll be, it will cause us harm. We should leave this place. So he said, Guru Maharaj, I don't want to leave. And Guru was forcing him. He said, no, I don't want to leave. I'm so attracted seeing this cashews and walnuts and almonds and so cheap rate. I really want to enjoy this place. If the king is foolish, what's my problem? And Guru said, you will be in danger someday. I'm leaving, but remember, if you are ever in danger, just remember me and I'll come and help you. And Guru leaves. And this disciple is very happy. As the years pass by, he's enjoying his life because the king is foolish. The rates are also, everything is happening such a stupid way in that kingdom. But he was enjoying, eating, and then, became so fat and he was living his life very happily. One day it so happened that in the king's palace, there was a theft. So when there was a theft, they were all searching for the thief who has, stolen the king's crown and everybody everywhere, but they were not able to catch the thief. So the minister went and told the king that, dear king, we are not able to catch the thief. The king said, come on, now this is an insult. What will the citizens think about me? That there is a theft in the king's palace and still the king could not catch the thief. This is very insulting. Do something. So the minister said, well, I have an idea. Since we are not able to get the thief, shall we just catch somebody and, hang him? So the king said, that's a wonderful idea. Do one thing. You take the nose, by which we hang people and you just go and measure it. Whoever's neck is correctly sitting inside the nose, declare him as a thief and hang him. There ends the matter. People will think also good about us that we finally caught a thief. So the minister said, wow, this is more wonderful. So the soldiers, they took the nose in their hand and they were moving from house to house and checking everybody's neck, whose neck fits in the nose. Now what happened, this disciple of the guru, because he was eating a lots of dry fruits and all, was quite obese and fat and chubby. The nose fit correctly on him. They said, come on now. So where are you taking me? He said, we'll hang you. For what? Oh, this nose fits you properly. So we declare you as a thief. Come on, now we'll hang you. The disciple said, this is crazy. I haven't heard this kind of justice anywhere. How can you do that to me? He said, come on, don't talk much. Let's go. And they imprisoned him and they said, tomorrow morning, we're going to hang you. Now this disciple was crying and remembering his guru. Please come. You were right. I shouldn't have stayed in this kingdom. They're all foolish people here. The guru immediately appears, because his disciple is remembering him. And the guru walks in straight, meets his disciple in the prison and he understands the whole situation. And then he goes to the king. And the guru tells the king, look, king, you have caught my disciple, but I have a request. I touch your feet. I request you. Can you please hang me in place of my disciple? But he said, why are you asking me that? No, I'm requesting you. I cannot tell you the reason, but I have one request. Please hang me in place of my disciple. It's a secret which I can't share with you. Now, the king being a foolish guy, what did you say? It's a secret? I must know. What's the secret? Tell me what's the secret. The guru said, I can't tell you the secret, but please hang me. The king said, no, come on. Don't think I'm a fool. It's a secret. I need to know. You can't hide things from me. Then the guru said, well, actually, I don't know how to put it to you, but tomorrow, the time that you are going to hang my disciple, it's a very auspicious time. I have just heard the news that Indra is on leave of absence. He is absent for some time. So they urgently need an acting Indra there in the heaven. So tomorrow, whoever dies during that muhurta, they will be immediately made the king of heaven. So that is why I was requesting you that instead of my disciple, can you please hang me? Then the king got very upset. That you think I'm a fool? You want that I should be a king of an earthly kingdom and you will become Indra? Oh, come on, forget it. Not you. I'm going to hang myself tomorrow because I want to become the Indra. And the king, he immediately directed his ministers, not that fellow disciple, the chubby fellow, please hang me. And the minister was there, why are you saying this? No, I have to become Indra and there is a vacancy there. So please hang me. And the king hanged himself. So, yeah, I mean, like if the administrator is foolish, then everything will go haywire. In the good side or bad side, the credit goes to the administrator. Even like in ISKCON or in our spiritual organization also, whenever we do something glorious or we do something which is not correct, the first question will be asked is, whose disciple are you? Immediately, the credit or the good name or the bad name goes to the guru. Oh, this person is disciple of so and so guru. Just see what the person has done, or let's see, or see how glorious this person is, disciple of so and so. So here, because things don't go from down to top, they come from top to down. Whatever the leader does or does not do becomes the culture of that community. So that is why Krishna wanted that Yudhishthir Maharaj, who is an able administrator, who is a devotee, should be the king of the entire world and guide everybody back home, back to Godhead. And one more important point Prabhupada makes here, he says, whoever becomes the king should have full autocratic power to rule over the world. This is very important. We see in the modern day rulers or so-called politicians, they don't have that autocratic power. It's almost all the time the government is made, by compromising on principles, and because there are 2 or 3 parties together have won the election, so they can't make any and they can't pass the bill so quickly because they have to appease the other parties who have helped them in getting the votes. So many things happen that they can't successfully implement things because of coalition government. So Prabhupada said that if the government has to run successfully, then it has to be autocratic, not that it is like a puppet government and it's been actually run by somebody else. Like there is this pastime of Subuddhi Rai in Chaitanya Charitamritam, how there was this young boy who was trained by Subuddhi Rai, and later on he becomes a Nawab, becomes a big man, and now Subuddhi Rai is actually under him. So once it so happens that in the night, while he's taking rest, his wife sees that there are some marks on his back. So his wife asks him that, what are these marks? So he says, oh, nothing. When I was a young boy under Subuddhi Rai, once I made a mistake, so he got angry with me and he whipped me. Because of that, these marks are there. Immediately his wife becomes angry. Oh, that's Subuddhi Rai. He treated you like that. Now, since you are in a powerful position, come on, kill him. So this man says, come on, I can't kill him. I love him. I like him. I respect him. I was a young boy. I did some mistake. He corrected me and he disciplined me. I don't mind. So I don't want to. Then his wife says, no, either you do it or I leave you. You have to kill him. You have to kill him. He said, but I can't kill him. Then finally he said, okay, fine. If you can't kill him, at least make him a Muslim. So those days it was like if you take a water from a Muslim man's pot and you sprinkle it on a Hindu, then he becomes a Muslim. So at least do that. Then that will be an insult to him. And then he can't go to temple and he can't worship his Lord. And this is the right punishment. So because he was a puppet in the hand of his wife, he had to do something which he didn't want to do. And he ended up doing that. He took the water, he was a Muslim, and he took the water from the pot and he sprinkled on Subhadra and, made him a Muslim. And then, of course, there's a whole big pastime of how Subhadra meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what happens afterwards. But why I'm giving you this example is that, yeah, like Prabhupada said, it should not be a puppet government. It should be an autocratic, full power should be there on the king. And in the case of Yudhishthira Maharaj, it was like that. He had complete power. He was not a puppet, and he was doing a wonderful job as a ruler. Why? Because he was a devotee of Krishna, and he had things very clear. He was ruling as a matter of duty and not for sense gratification. He had no personal interest, but he was ruling as a king to serve the people and for their welfare and benefit. So coming to the next verse. Kamam bhavarsha parjanya sarva kama dugamahi shishu chasma vrajangava Payosodha swatir mudam. Translation: during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the clouds showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. Now, this is so wonderful. The opulence of Yudhishthira Maharaj's kingdom is explained. See, the opulence it was measured in those days by the number of cows you have, the land and cows. Prabhupada says, the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. Like Prabhupada used to say, if a person has a half-acre land and few cows, is a rich man. Nothing else is required. So in Yudhishthira Maharaj's rule, everything was so auspicious. The clouds were showering rain, whatever the water required by people, and the earth was producing all nice grains, and the cows were having so much milk. Their milk bag was fatty. They were so happy, and so much milk was overflowing that when they're walking also, the milk is dripping on the ground. So everything was so opulent and everything was so wonderful. So this is such a good sign. Why was everything so opulent during Yudhishthira Maharaj's time is, when you make the father happy, then the mother Prakriti, she will open up things for you. But if you are not Krishna conscious, if you are not pleasing the father, then, like we see in the during the rule of King Vena, everything went haywire because Vena was so sinful. And then when Prithu Maharaj's rule started, everything came back to normal, and the earth started producing grains and everything went so wonderfully. So unless and until somebody is a devotee, then Mother Prakriti will not cooperate. She will not cooperate, and she will not give things for sense gratification. Even today, if there is rain in this world, is only because there are still some sadhus remaining in this world who are doing Harinama Sankirtana. Otherwise, there would be no rains. Like we see in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 14, it says that Anna Bhavanti Bhutani. The living beings are dependent on grains, and the grains come because of the rains, and the rains happen because of the yajna, and the yajnas are performed as prescribed duties by the human beings. It's a whole big circle. When the yajnas are properly performed, then only it will rain. In fact, I'm reminded of one pastime of His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj. Gaur Govind Maharaj, when he was present in this planet, he was once visiting ISKCON center in Spain, some farm in outside of Spain. So the devotees there, they were using oil lamps. So Maharaj was very impressed. Hare, you are using oil lamps. Even my childhood time, I used to use oil lamps. Then they said, Maharaj, we are not using because of happiness or we haven't selected to use it. There is no option for us because our electricity is all depend upon the hydel, the power of, water, hydra power, and there is no rain. So because of that, there is no electricity. Because of that, we are using this oil lamps. So last 1.5 years, it has not rained. So Maharaj said, well, if you do Harinam Sankirtan, it will rain. So after that, Maharaj gave a class in the temple hall. And after class, Maharaj started doing Kirtan. And the Kirtan was so wonderful and so melodious. And everybody was like into the Kirtan, and loud Kirtan was happening. And as soon as the Kirtan ended, there was thunder and lightning. And immediately another devotee said, oh, don't get so excited, everybody. So many times there is thunder and lightning, but rain does not fall. So they were discussing like that. And in another 15-20 minutes, it actually started raining. It was raining wonderfully, and devotees got surprised. Really? Such a wonderful Harinam Sankirtan. Immediately it rained. So they all wanted to now meet Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So they rushed to his room, and Maharaj's room was locked and his secretary was outside. So they said, we want to meet Maharaj. What a mystical power, just by his Kirtan, the rain has started. We want to meet Maharaj. We want to meet Maharaj. Everybody started crowding. Then Maharaj immediately called his secretary. He said, we must leave this place immediately, because the glory is not mine. These people are giving me all this credit and all. It is because of my Guru Maharaj. The glory is of Srila Prabhupada. He taught us about Harinam Sankirtana. This is not the place. I don't want to stay. The way these people are glorifying me and all. Immediately Maharaj changed his whole travel schedule, and within 1.5 hours, he left that farm and he went off to some other temple. Now, anyway, why did I tell you the story? Is that, because of Harinam Sankirtana, still since Harinam Sankirtan is going on in this world, still there are sadhus who are doing it. That's why rain is coming and, crops are coming. But otherwise, without yajna, there will be no rains. But in Yudhishthir Maharaj's kingdom, because everybody was a devotee and they were doing their prescribed duties, everything was so wonderful. Everything in the cows were happy, and the grains were, earth were producing nicely grains, and everything was going so wonderfully. And mainly the cows were happy, which is so important. The cows are the basic foundation of our culture, of our well-being, of our whole existence. Without cow, because if cow milk is not there, there is no ghee. If there is no ghee, there is no yajna. Of course, nowadays we don't do yajna, but we are doing japa yajna. We are doing sankirtana yajna. So because of which the rains are coming. So like that, there is a big explanation. And in purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that even Maharaj Parikshit, he was protector of cows. And once he was touring his kingdom, and he saw a black man attempting to kill a cow, and immediately he caught that man, and he chastised him. So those days, the kings were such a big protector of cows. In fact, not only the kings, even till the recent times also, when the Britishers were here, till that time also, there was so much importance of the cows. So cows, over a period of time now, people have lost that value of cow. In fact, I'm reminded of a story that I'd heard during my college times about this Britishers, how there were this gang of 10 Muslims, and who were like revolting, because those days before the India-Pakistan partition, the Muslims and the Hindus, they worked together against Britishers. So this 10 Muslims, they were like fighting and revolting against British. And those days, whoever revolted against Britishers, they were labeled as traitors. So now these people were absconding because the Britishers were searching, they had done something, and now they were hiding. So while they were hiding in a forest, these 10 people, they were very hungry. So in the Muslim culture, they eat animals. So when they were hungry, so out of this 9, one person went and got a cow. So now he said, okay, let's eat this cow because we are hungry and nothing else is available. Now this cow was pregnant. So now the way this cow was looking at that Muslim man, with like tears in her eyes, there's a baby in her stomach, and she knows that they may kill her. So now this, the head of those 10 people, this Muslim guy, he told the other 9 people that, do one thing, you go and get the firewood and the masalas for cooking and arrange for all the cooking utensils and all. I will, by the time I will cut the cow and clean the flesh and keep everything ready. So they said, fine. And they left, all the 9 people. And as soon as they left, this man, he left the cow. He said, no, you just left the cow, because he didn't want to kill the cow. Now what happened? After several months, all these 10 people, they got arrested by the Britishers. When they got arrested by the Britishers, they were hanged because they have been labeled as traitors. So all these 9 people, one by one, and those days the system is that they put your head on the nose, and then there is this a wooden plank, so they have a switch. As soon as they put the switch, and you are tied on the nose, and you fall down because those planks will move and you will go down, and that way you will be choked to death. So all these 9 people, one by one, they were killed. Now the 10th person who had protected the cow, his chance came. So now they put the nose and they put the switch. And as soon as he, has to go down now, the wooden planks, they moved, but nothing happened to him. He was not going down. He was still there. So they didn't understand what's happening. So they went and peeped there. Everything was normal. So they said, okay, fine, let's try again. So usually in those days, the system was that they will try it 3 times. If it doesn't work, they will say it's God's mercy and they will leave the guy. 3 times they tried, it didn't happen. Then afterward, they said, okay, they left him free, but they asked him, what exactly happened? Why didn't nothing happen to you? Then he said, I don't know what happened, but when I was going down, I felt that there were 2 horns of the cow who was protecting me. My feet was resting on the horn of the cow. So how the cow was such a big protector, she went below those wooden planks and with her horn she protected him. And then later on, when he was released from the jail, he saw that the cow and the calf was waiting for him. Now he was so moved by it, and he became a cow bhakta, and from there on he started taking care of the cows so nicely. So those days, they had such high reverence for the cows. In fact, I remember a story, of our Akbar and Birbal, where once Akbar asked Birbal, which animal milk is the best, So Birbal says buffalo milk. So Akbar says, come on now, don't joke with me. I think cow milk is the best, is it not? He says, no, it's buffalo milk. So why are you saying like this? I know you are a Brahmin and in your scriptures they talk about cow milk. Now come on, He said, no, whatever it is, I'm telling you buffalo milk is the best. So then Akbar said, okay, fine, buffalo milk is bad, very good. Then what about cow milk then? Then Birbal says, well, cow milk is not milk, sir. Cow milk is amruta. It is nectar. That is why I said, when you said about animal milk, I said buffalo milk is good. But if you talk about cow milk, it's actually not milk. Cow milk is actually nectar. It's amruta. Of course, in our scriptures, it's been written, but now the science is discovering. Now, so many such research have been made, and they are talking about now how those who take cow milk, the neurons in the brain are revitalized, or they are again refreshed, and so many such research are coming out that, in fact, even during the British time, once there were 2 Britishers who had a big quarrel. So because they had a quarrel, now they went to the court. So the magistrate has to decide the case. So he was asking, come on, both of you have used unparliamentary words towards each other. Now tell me who started it first. Did you? She said, no, I know. I didn't start. He started. He said, no, I didn't start. He started. So now the judge was confused and he said, okay, forget it. Was anybody there when this fighting happened? Then they said, yeah, there's one Indian man who was there. Okay, call him. So somehow after a lot of struggle, they got hold of that Indian man who was there during the fighting. So now with the help of the translator, they asked the Indian man, were you there when this fighting happened? And he said, yes, I was there. Can you tell who started first, using of the wrong words? Now the Indian, in his own Hindi language, he said, sir, I cannot understand one word of English. So I don't know who started speaking the wrong words, but I can do one thing. Whatever they spoke for 20 minutes fighting with each other, that is there in my memory. I can tell you as it is whatever they said. So 20 minutes of their conversation, he reproduced. Though he does not understand even one word of English, but whatever he had heard, he remembers those words. So as it is, he told the 20 minutes conversation. The judge was shocked. What a memory, how you could remember so much. Because those days they used to drink this pure cow milk, and which used to have, such an impact on their brain. They had such intelligence. That is why a normal human being also used to have the Vedas by heart, all the 4 Vedas. That's why the surnames were Chaturvedis. They used to know the scriptures like the back of their hand. Now, even for memorizing few slokas for Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava also becomes a very big anxiety for us. How to remember those verses? But because we are drinking Jersey cow milk or sometimes taking things which are not very pure, whatever the food we take, it influences our mind and influences our thought process, influences our health and everything. So like that, those days everything was so wonderful. The cows were happy and the earth was happy and the clouds were giving rain, and everything was going on so wonderfully. People had so much time and energy, and they could give time for their spiritual pursuit for Krishna consciousness. If you see in the Chaitanya Charitamritham also, all these Parshadas, all these Bengali Vaishnavas, they used to come for 4 months from Bengal to Puri and spend 4 months of Chaturmasya with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and used to go back. So how were they getting so much time? They were all grahasthas, they had families to maintain. But the fact that they all had farms, because they all had farms and they had people working for them in the farm, they could take such a big break. Even if they go out or stay there for 4 months in Puri, there was no problem about their livelihood. So people had cows and people had land, and everything was going on wonderfully. So even now that is possible, but people are reluctant to go back to farming. They got so used to this IT world and this corporate lifestyle. Anyway, not getting into that. So that's about it. And here, at large in this purport, Prabhupada is talking about farming and about how this modern and advanced civilization of killing animals is, so hopeless. And this is what he'll be talking about in the 2 pages purport here. Coming back and going to the next verse. Nadya samudra giraya savanaspati viruddha phalanti aushadhaya sarva kamam anvruttu tasya vai. The rivers, the ocean, the hill, the mountain, the forest, the creepers, and the active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. Why are they using this word taxes? Actually, the king is a representative of the Lord. He's called Naradeva. So everybody has to give him tax. Not only that humans have to pay tax, even the oceans and everybody have to pay tax to him. So how they pay tax? By giving abundant rain, by giving abundant yield. That's how they pay their taxes. The Prakriti also pays the taxes. So here, because they were so happy with Maharaj Yudhishthira's protection, that they were all paying their taxes in full, and all were so happy. And here Prabhupada says in the purport that without being educated properly, the mass of people are following in the footsteps of vested interest by exploiting natural reserves. And therefore, there is an acute competition between individual and nation. There is no control by the train agent of the Lord. We must look into the defects of modern civilization by comparison here, and we should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhishthira to clean man and wipe out anachronism. Actually, the nature has so many wonderful gifts, but we are abusing the nature. Like Prabhupada once, when he went to France, he was sitting inside a garden. It was a beautiful garden. And Prabhupada gave such a nice example. He said, this garden belongs to the government. We can sit here. We can enjoy the garden. We can take the fragrant smell of the rose and the flowers. We can look around. We can walk. We can breathe the oxygen, but we cannot abuse the garden. Similarly, this whole world belongs to Krishna. Krishna has given us this opportunity to come here. We can stay here. We can see things, but we cannot exploit this world. This is Lord's. Just like if you take anything from this garden or destroy the garden, the government people will come and arrest you. Similarly, if you abuse the nature, you will be punished by Krishna. So you should be so careful. That's what Prabhupada was giving the example. So here in Maharaj's Yudhishthira's rule, everything was so wonderful. They were not abusing the nature. They were making right use of it, optimum use of it, and using it for service of Krishna. And everything people were taking according to their quota. They were not trying to take more than required. Like Prabhupada gave the example, right? He said that if there is a sack of grains, fallen in the road, the bird will come and take whatever is required to feed the stomach and fly away happily. But if a man sees that, not only today, tomorrow, he will take the whole sack, keep it for months, that I can use it in future. That's the greed of man. Not happy that, okay, I got whatever I was required for today and be happy. He wants to keep on accumulating more than necessary. And that way, he's trying to abuse the nature by taking more and more, extracting more and more from the nature. We go to the next verse. Nadhayo vyadhaya kleshadaiva bhutatmahetava jatashatrava bhavan jantunam rajnikarhiche. The king Yudhishthira had no enemy. The living beings were not anytime disturbed by mental agonies, disease, or excessive heat or cold. Now, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is a verse. It says, if the citizens do sin, the king has to take the part of the sin. If a wife does sin, husband has to take it. If a disciple does the sin, guru has to take it. Similarly, if the king is doing pious activities, the citizens will be benefited. If the husband is doing charity, whole family will be benefited. If a guru is doing austerity, all his disciples also will be benefited. So here, because Yudhishthira Maharaj, he had no enemy. He was a wonderful king. So that's why everybody who was there under his protection, they were all so happy. There was no disease, no mental agonies, no frustration, no depression, no stress. All were living very happy and blissful life. So here, Prabhupada quotes a proverb in her purport. He says, bad king spoils the kingdom. In a way, the bad housewife spoils the family. This truth is applicable here. Because the king was pious and obedient to the Lord and the sages, there was no enemy. He was a recognized agent of the Lord, and therefore the Lord was protecting him and all the citizens who were under his protection. So this is very, very wonderful. That is why the head of the family, the father, he becomes a devotee. Whole family will be protected. He does charity and he chants the Lord's name. Everybody who is there under his protection will be benefited. In fact, if we see in those days, the ladies were not chanting 16 rounds, or the ladies were not doing yajna or tapasya, nothing. They were simply serving their husband. The husbands used to do all the austerities, but because the wife was serving the husband, she would get the part of the good karma done by the husband. And at the end of the life, when the husband leaves the body, the wife used to leave the body with him, and she would get the same destination that the husband got without doing much. So she didn't have to do tapasya, or she didn't have to do any austerity. She simply had to serve her husband. That's how things were, very wonderfully done. But because they are like an authorized agent of the Supreme Lord, and because they are taking Supreme Lord's protection, that's why Lord is protecting him and anybody who is under him. So that's how indirectly the whole thing was moving on. Next verse. Ushitva hastinapure mashan katipayan hari suhridam cha vishokaya swasus cha priyakamyaya. Sri Hari, Lord Sri Krishna, resided at Hastinapur for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister Subhadra. So here Krishna was not very schedule conscious. Oh, I have so many meetings to attend at Dwarka, I need to leave. No, he was very relaxed and happy and giving them association and eating with them and sleeping with them and talking with them and joking with them. And he stayed for months together, and especially he stayed to please his sister Subhadra, because Subhadra had lost her husband. And also now she was about to lose her grandson. And usually in the absence of father, the older brother is like a father. So Krishna wanted to give Subhadra more solace by spending some more time with her and making her feel happy. Sometimes Krishna blesses by giving association, and sometimes Krishna blesses by not giving association and making them experience separation. So, like sometimes Krishna is, giving separation to the Dwarka Vasis, giving association to Hastinapur Vasis, sometimes giving separation to Hastinapur Vasis and giving association to the Dwarka Vasis. And that is how he was, doing things whenever, whatever is required. Next verse. Amantraya chabhya nataha parishvajya abhivadyatam aruroharatham kaischid parisvakto bhivaditam. Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respect to Maharaj Yudhishthira by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got into his chariot. So now what happened? Everything is happy. Everybody is happy. So now the Lord asked permission from Maharaj Yudhishthir. Said that now I'll make a move. Please give me permission. So Yudhishthir Maharaj said, you can go. Now the Lord started paying obeisances to those who are elder to him and taking their blessings. And those who are equal, Lord was embracing them. And those who were younger to the Lord, they were paying obeisances to the Lord. And this way, Lord was reciprocating with everybody. And all were so happy. Can I know the time? What's the time? It is 7:25. Okay. Okay. So this is very wonderful. The Vedic system of doing Dandavat Pranam. Actually, this Dandavat Pranam or paying obeisance is such a wonderful thing, because when we pay obeisances to somebody or we do Dandavat Pranam, actually we melt their hearts, because they become so happy. They're so moved when you touch somebody's feet, and spontaneously blessings come out. And these rituals were so important. Like we see even before the Kurukshetra war started, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he went and paid obeisances to Kripacharya, Dronacharya and Bhishma and took their blessings before starting the war. And Bhishma was so happy. He said, may you win the war. They were so happy, whereas they were on the opposing side fighting against Yudhishthir, but still they blessed because they were so moved by his humility. So like this, that is the Vedic culture. Nowadays, people find it very awkward, especially like we see among the non-devotees, when they see our devotees sometime in the airport, in railway station, market area, suddenly they will see other devotees, they will start doing Dandavat Pranam in the middle of the shopping mall or somewhere, and others find it very funny. Why they have to do it? Why they have to just, but they don't understand. They are ready to go to, like the gym or something to bend their bodies, but they don't want to bend their bodies in front of the elders. It's not only about, when we do that bending, it reduces the ego of our mind, but also it reduces the fat of our mind and the fat of our body also. When we pay Dandavat Pranam, it's good for us physically and it's also good for us mentally. It reduces our ego. We take a humble position. Actually, all our Vedic rituals, right from putting a bindi in the middle of both the eyebrows, or offering an aarti, or what do you say, blowing a conch shell, or even the Shilpa Sastra, how the constructions of the houses were made in those days. Everything has such a amazing scientific basis. Why they were done, in why and for what. Like the gopurams of the temple, the way they are made, now people are making their houses like that, but they are using the word like, pyramid energy. And in fact, even now the water pot where they store the drinking water, also people put a pyramid on top of it. No, it attracts energy. But this was all there in our Vedic scriptures from long times, why the gopurams were built and how it attracts energy, and the Vastu Shastra and all this, even living in joint families. See, those days people never had to go to a psychiatrist or, go to some counselors, because they had counselors at home. They feel lonely. They were kaka, chacha, nana, dada, dada. So many people in the house who could give you affection and give you the right advices. There was never a dull moment. But now, because of nuclear families and just husband and wife and one child, and husband and wife are on, working outside, and the child is lonely, and then develop so many psychiatric problems in the mind, and then they have to pay money and get some psychiatrists who will sit and listen to their talks. But those days there were joint families and the child never felt lonely. There were so many cousins to play around, and there was no such a dull moment. And even if the mother or the father is busy, they always had their kaki or chachi or some aunt who would listen to their things, what happened in the college or what happened in the school, and give some kind of a counseling. They had people of all ages to mix with. They had the elders from whom they could take blessings. They had people of their same age with whom they could share their mind. Sometimes they had younger ones whom they could shower their love or compassion on them. So it was such a wonderful arrangement. Now people are realizing that, and again, and so this is what is happening. The Vedic rituals, they're all so scientific and so important. So here Krishna is also paying obeisances, hugging, and such wonderful exchanges happening. So here in purport, Srila Prabhupada says, no one is greater than Lord, neither they are equal to the Lord, but the Lord takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. So it's like Lord is paying obeisances to somebody, but Lord is greater than everybody. Still, why the Lord is doing like this and taking blessings? Because Lord loves it. He enjoys making, taking pleasure in being treated as a younger than his devotees. In fact, I'm reminded of this fun pastime in Raman Riti. I'd heard it from a local Vrajavasi. There is this place in Raman Riti. When we go to Vrindavan, we go to that place which is like very soft mud is there everywhere, soft sand, and we roll, and that place where the elephant does harti and all. So once we were there in Raman Riti, and one of the Vrajavasi was sharing a very beautiful pastime. He said, in this place, Krishna Balram used to play one very typical game. So in that game, it's like this: the one who is the denner has to bend down, and the others would come running and jump over the denner. And they should not touch the denner. They should just jump over him. If they touch him, then they become the denner. So they were playing this game, Krishna, Balram, and the Gopa Balakas. But Krishna is so sharp, he never becomes the denner. So always his friends are waiting that one time we should make Krishna, the denner. But it never happened. Once so happened that when Krishna was jumping over another cowherd boy, this cowherd boy moved a little bit. And that way Krishna touched him. So now all the cowherd boys were very happy. Since you have touched, now you have to become a denner. You have to become a denner. And they made Krishna bend down. And now they were having fun. They were running from far and jumping over Krishna and jumping. And not only jumping over Krishna, they were actually beating him on his back, and they were enjoying. Finally, we caught you. Now you are the thief. And they were really enjoying this game. So all the Devatas, Brahma and Indra and Varuna and Chandra and Yama, they're all looking at it and they're fascinated. Wow, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is a denner and he is bending down, and look at the audacity. These people, they come and jump, and wow, how they're relishing, they're enjoying with the Supreme Lord. We are not able to get that taste. Why not we also go and do it? So Indra said, that's a good idea. Let's do it. Let's all go and become like a Gopa Balakas and let's try to do it. They said, that's a wonderful idea. So all the Devatas, they changed themselves into cowherd boys and they joined the queue. So now there is a queue of the boys who are running and jumping over the Lord and running and jumping over the Lord. So finally it was Indra's chance, So now he has to jump over the Lord. So he was enthusiastic. He came running. But as soon as he came near to the Lord, he started shivering because he's a Supreme Personality of God. How can I jump over him? And he's shivering and the other Gopa Balaka are shocked that why is this boy shivering? And they just pushed him. If you can't do it, forget it. Let me do it. And then Surya comes and Chandra comes, and Surya is like, he is blazing, right? And, people start sweating on seeing him, but Surya was started also sweating, as soon as he came near to Krishna. He's not able to jump, and Chandra is not able to jump. And then Yamaraj's chance came, and now they're pushing him. Hey, come on, do it. And Yamaraj is shivering with fear. Actually, people fear Yama, but Yama, when he sees Krishna from such close quarters, and he's like, how can I jump over the Supreme Lord? And finally, Brahma, he tries to do it, and then when Brahma is doing it, instead of jumping over Krishna, he just folds his hand. He started singing prayer. Chinta mani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha. Govinda Madi Purusham Tabam Bhajami. And these boys are wondering, what is this prayer? They don't know how to play. And finally, the Devatas, they give up. Oh, so we can't do this. Only the Vrajavasis can do it. We can't get into that mood that Krishna can be our friend and Krishna can be, somebody whom we can jump over or push him, or, we can't do that to Krishna. So, but Krishna likes it. That's why he loves the Vrajavasis, because he just loves that exchange of feelings with them. So here Prabhupada says, Krishna likes it. He takes pleasure in being treated as younger than his devotees. Actually, this Devatas, they were talking among themselves that what these Vrajavasis must have done, what these cowherd boys must have done to get this opportunity to be so intimate with Krishna, where they're able to love him as a friend, and they're able to pull him and push him and hug him, and how they're able to do it. And Sukadev Goswami replies to this question, because this is what is going on in Parikshit Maharaj's mind also, that how are they able to do it? The Devatas are not able to do it. How they are able to be so intimate with the Lord? And Sukadev Goswami answers that Krita Punya. Oh, they have done lot of Punya. So what is that Punya, sir? They have done. What is that Punya? Sukadev Goswami says, because they have done Shravanam and Kirtanam of the Lord's Katha. Over lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, they have heard Krishna Katha, and they have accumulated so much punya that, they are able to get this opportunity to personally associate with the Lord. So this, among so many various ways of serving the Lord, or so many wonderful activities, the best one is to hear about the Lord. Because when we do this Shravanam, there are so many, punya karmas one can do, like give charity of food, or kanya danam, anna danam, water danam. So many danam we can do, some clothes or some. All these are like these kind of charity works are like depositing money in the bank. When you deposit money in the bank, and you deposit, and withdrawal will also happen, and one day the account will get empty. But when we hear about Krishna, it's not actually punya. Hearing about Krishna is devotional service, and devotional service is like fixed deposit, and fixed deposit always remains. You keep getting interest, but you keep enjoying the interest from fixed deposit. But fixed deposit will remain fixed deposit only. It will never reduce in number. But the amount deposited, when you withdraw, it will get empty. The account will get empty. So when we hear about Krishna, when we do Shravanam of Krishna Katha, it is so beneficial. And these cowherd boys had done so much Shravanam of Krishna Katha for lifetimes that they got opportunity to become a intimate associate of the Lord. Go to the next verse. Subhadra Draupadi Kunti Virata Tanaya Tatha Gandhari Dhritarashtrascha Yuyutsa Gautamo Yamo Vrikrodarascha Dhaumyascha Striyo Matsya Sutadaya Nasahire Vimuyanto Viraham Sarnigadhanvanaha. So at that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsa, Kripacharya, Nakul, Sahadev, Bhim, Dhaumya, Satyavati, all fainted. It was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. Oh, when Krishna was about to leave, all these people, they just fainted. And this is much better. In fact, Dashrath Maharaj, when Vishwamitra came to take Krishna, Rama for a few days also, Dashrath Maharaj was getting so restless. How can I send my sons? That much separation I can't bear. And finally, when Lord Rama left Dashrath Maharaj for 14 years of exile, Dashrath Maharaj left his body. Frankly speaking, that 14 years was a very small time. Because, after he came back, after 14 years, Lord Rama ruled for 11,000 years. So among his 11,000 years, 14 years was a small time, just like a few years, because those days people used to live for a long time. It was Treta Yuga. So, Kali Yuga, we live for 100 years. In Dwapar, they used to live for 1,000 years. In Treta Yuga, they used to live for 10,000 years. So it was like 14 years was a very small time. It is like if for our time, for our calculation, if somebody has to go 4 days somewhere and come back, it's a small time out of 100 years that we live. But still, Dasharath Maharaj could not bear the separation of Lord Ram and he died. So, these people were so attached to Krishna that they all fainted. Just the thought that Krishna is going to leave them and go. Now, we are on the 11th verse and we still have a lot of verses to done. In fact, I was thinking to complete all 4 chapters today, but I don't know. This chapter also looks difficult. So what I'm going to do now is, I will not read the verses and I'll directly read the translation so that I can at least complete this chapter, if not the other chapters. So next verse, text 11 and 12. The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees have become free from bad materialistic association, can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate his separation? For they had been intimately associated with his person, seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, sleeping, sitting, dining with him. So this is very important verse. It's saying that why these people were fainting? Because they were too much attached to him. And here one example is given that even a sadhaka who is hearing Krishna Katha, just by hearing Krishna Katha, will get so attached to hearing Krishna Katha that if he can't hear Krishna Katha, he will get restless. Normal, just Krishna Katha. He has not even seen Krishna or experienced Krishna, nothing. Then what to speak about these Pandavas who were eating with him, sleeping with him, dining with him, joking with him, talking. They was touching him. They were seeing him, with their eyes. How much separation they must be feeling. So that is what is explained here, that if somebody has just taken association of pure devotees and have heard a little bit of Krishna Katha and have given a bad association, even for them, they will get so attached to Krishna. Then what to speak about somebody who has directly seen Krishna, This is very important actually from this verse, from the sadhaka point of view, that it's not only about hearing Krishna Katha, one should also avoid bad materialistic association, which is very important, because sometimes we are filling our mind with Krishna, but we are not emptying our mind from the materialistic association. So that's why nothing is much happening. We need to clear the plate and then take the sweet rice. Then we can taste it. But if there is already dal, rice, pickle, and so many things, and we put sweet rice, we can't taste it. Our mind is full of materialistic association. Our mind is full of materialistic things. And then, we put a little bit of Krishna Katha, it will go off somewhere. We need to clean it. So 2 things have to happen simultaneously. Hearing Krishna Katha and giving a bad materialistic association. Materialistic association not necessarily means people at workplace and all, but materialistic association also nowadays happens through websites, internet, and seeing or hearing wrong content. Sometimes even the devotee content may be also, we may be watching some things which are not conducive for our Krishna consciousness. For example, in some website, there are prajalpas. There are some things about some devotees or some criticisms which we end up with hearing or reading with the curiosity to know what is it. And we are not even sure if that information is correct or not. And we keep reading, and that influences our thought process, and it makes our mind impure. So we should be so careful, whatever we are hearing, even about devotees also. We should be very careful that we are hearing it from right association, and we are taking right association and hearing the right things. And we should not our ears to not share informations. Sometimes somebody says about somebody told me that he did that and she did that and he did like that. Those things we have to avoid. Then only we can purify our consciousness with whatever Shravanam we are doing. And that way, even though we can't feel separation of Krishna physically, but at least we can feel separation of the sadhana elements. Then we will have ruchi for Krishna Katha, and we can't hear Katha someday, or we couldn't do our rounds. We'll have that separation feeling. And that is only separation feeling that we can feel as sadhakas, because we are not on such advanced stage. And frankly, to feel separation from somebody, we should have a relationship with somebody. Then only separation will happen. Today, if I tell you that from ISKCON Vizag, one of our devotee brahmachari is leaving for US, you may not have any feeling of separation because you don't even know that brahmachari and you haven't even associated. So how will you feel separation? We may feel separation because we may have associated with the devotee. We must have taken prasadam with him. So unless and until you have a relationship with somebody, you can't feel separation. So if we want to feel that separation, what the Hastinapur Vasis were feeling, or the Pandavas were feeling, the devotees of the Lord, the separation they feel, we need to have a relationship with Krishna. And that will develop if we take interest in Krishna, we respect Krishna, we have faith in Krishna, and we give ears to hear and know more about Krishna. Then we will develop an attachment towards Krishna, and then we can have a separation feeling, which is the highest feeling, the Vipralambha Bhav, where you feel separation from Krishna. So for that, we need to have, we need to invest some time in hearing about Krishna, and that way we can make a relationship with Krishna. So so here Prabhupada talks about how the gopis are feel such great separation from Krishna, and because we see how Akrura, Mother Yashoda, how they felt so so much separation from Krishna. But even though they felt separation from Krishna, it was not about sitting and crying, but even in that separation, they were always chanting the holy name of Krishna. And that way they were rightly situated. The gopis, when they were crying, it was not only crying. In that crying also, they were doing Krishna Katha, hearing and talking. Like we see the Gopi Geet, Govinda, Damodhar, Madhav. They were going on constantly reciting his names and remembering him, which is the right way of experiencing separation. So and then one more point, and the purport says that under the circumstance, it is easily understandable that what must be the position of Pandavas, who were the constant companions of the Lord. They could not even think of separation from Krishna, since the attraction was more intense for them because of continuous personal contact. They had such personal contact with the Lord that we cannot even imagine what must be happening to them. Even hearing of Gopi's separation, we get tears when we hear the Gopi Geet, or we hear how the Uddhava Samvad. I remember as a child, there was one very famous Gujarati, I could say speaker. So I wouldn't want to mention the name, but when we were young, before coming in touch with ISKCON, we used to hear him a lot. And he used to, particularly his Krishna Katha was very beautiful. And those days, there were no cell phones when I was a schoolgirl. So I used to have a small Walkman and a tape recorder cassette. And especially his Uddhav Samvad, where Mother Yashoda is telling Uddhava, that ask Krishna to come back, or if he is not able to come back because he's very busy with his kingly duties, can he call us there to Mathura? We will not disturb him. We will render some service to him. So there is this beautiful conversation between Uddhav and Yashoda, and he used to sing it in a Vraja Bhasha. It was so wonderful, and it was my routine. I was in class 7, and every day in the night, keep it near the ears and hear it whole night. And just hearing that, not even seeing Krishna, we don't know nothing, just still there was so much lamentation and crying, and that how Krishna could be like so cruel to Mother Yashoda. Why did he leave? And every day I used to have this question in the morning before going to school and having breakfast to my mother. Why did Krishna do that? And why didn't he go back? So I remember this 3-4 lines that he used to sing. He used to say, Sham mure chakar rakho ji. That Yashoda is telling to Uddhava that can you give this message to Krishna? Can you tell him that Sham means Mohe means me. Just keep me as a servant. Not even, I don't even want the position of your mother. Just as a servant, we will not disturb you. What we will do? They said, Bagalagasu darsana pasu. He says that what we will do is, in your very big palace, you may be needing so many servants, right? So what we will do is every day in the morning, we will water the plants, we will clean up your place. And that way, what happened? Nita uthi darshana pasuji. Oh, when we get up in the morning, that way, when Krishna comes out in the balcony, maybe we can see him. And then he says, Vrindavan ki kunjagalin me Govind Leela. So he says that what we will do is, after seeing him like this, we will go in the lanes of Vrindavan, and whatever we have seen, we will share it with others. Govind Leela Gasu. So can you just request Krishna only this much? Shama mohe chakar rakho ji. Just keep us as servant. Your old parents, just keep them as servant. Nothing else we are expecting. Uddhav, can you give this message to Krishna? Just hire us as a servant. He may be requiring so many servants. So now imagine, when we simply hear this, we haven't even experienced Krishna. We don't even know anything about Krishna yet. We're just trying to hear and learn something. We feel so overwhelmed and emotional. And how, imagine the Pandavas who are actually seeing Krishna, touching Krishna, eating, sleeping with him, what they must be feeling when Krishna is actually leaving them and going, is what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, and Sukadeva Goswami says in the translation. Next verse, 13. All their hearts were melting for him on the pot of attraction. They looked at him without blinking their eyes. They moved hither and thither in perplexity. Oh, they were all like their hearts were melting. They were simply staring at him wherever he was going. Their eyes were unblinking. So Krishna is hugging somebody, they are looking at Krishna. Krishna is paying obeisance to somebody, they are looking at Krishna. Their eyes are not leaving Krishna, and they're going on staring at him because he's going to leave now. So they're all. So here in the purport, Krishna says, Sukadeva Goswami, Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna is naturally attractive for all living beings because he is the chief eternal among all eternals. And then he says that we have forgotten Krishna under the spell of Maya. We have forgotten our eternal relationship with him. The Maya, the illusory energy of the Lord, it has made us forget. Now we may think, if Krishna is so attractive, why are we not getting attractive to Krishna? I mean, we are trying, we are hearing classes and we are going to the temple and we are attending aartis and we are trying so much, but why aren't we able to develop that attraction for Krishna as the Gopis had, or the Hastinapurvasis had, or the Vrajavasis had? So Prabhupada is saying it's because we are covered by Maya and we have forgotten our eternal relationship with Krishna. So just like, imagine if somebody is asked, like let's say if a devotee is being told, can you every day pluck some flowers for Guru Puja and bring? Now imagine after going to that garden, he forgets his identity and he starts behaving like a gardener. And somebody will tell him, Prabhu, what you are doing, come back to the temple. He says, no, I'm a gardener. My duty is to take care of this plants. And somebody may tell him, Prabhu, you forgot, or what, you came here just to pluck the flowers, you have to come back for Guru Puja. No, I have to take it. This is called false identity. This is what has happened to us. After coming to this material world, we have forgotten what's our eternal relationship with Krishna. And no, I'm a husband of this person. No, I'm a wife. No, I'm a daughter. No, I'm a daughter-in-law. I know I'm to so-and-so company. I'm a manager. I'm a CEO. But we are forgetting the actual purpose was to know about Krishna and develop revive our relationship and realign our life, according to Krishna's desire and go back. So that we have forgotten. So that is why we are not able to feel that separation and that attraction. But Krishna is very attractive, So, and then he says that what to do? We are not able to get that attraction for Krishna. So what to do? By association. Since we are not able to directly, contact Krishna, we should associate with him by his name, by japa, by his fame, form, and quality. So Srimad Bhagavatam trains the conditioned soul to this stage of perfection by submissive hearing from the pure devotee. When we hear Bhagavatam regularly and continuously, then we develop a relationship with Krishna. Then we develop an attachment towards Krishna. Pure devotees of the Lord, because they have a relationship with the Lord, they feel separation. Even in our own ISKCON society, we have amazing examples of sannyasis who have actually shown how their feeling of exhibited their feeling of separation from Krishna. Like we see His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj during his final days. He was when he was getting up, he was suffering from cancer, and every day in the morning that he got up and he used to see the sun and say, "Oh, even today I didn't go to Krishna. Oh, today also I have not gone to Krishna. Oh, I'll go tomorrow." So like he's eagerly waiting to go back to Krishna. He's feeling separation from Krishna. He's not lamenting that he's going to leave this material body, but he's waiting in anticipation to go back to Krishna. Like we see His Holiness Gaur Govinda Maharaj also. When he left the body also, he was talking about Krishna. He was explaining about separation of Radha and Krishna, and in that mood he left his body. We see in the case of His Holiness Sridhar Swami Maharaj also, when the doctors told him that he had just one more week to, to leave his body, and he came to Mayapur, and as soon as he landed and he entered Mayapur, he said, "Now I am safe. Now I am safe. Now Gaur Nitai will take care of me." So he was worried till he reaches Mayapur. He said, "Now I am in safe hands. Gaur Nitai will take care of me." And he was so eagerly waiting for death that during his final times, he told the devotees in Mayapur that anybody who comes to Mayapur, please bring them to me. I want to preach to them. So some students came, 50, 100 students from some school or college came to Mayapur, and Maharaj was telling them, "Look, in 1 week, I'm going to die. Okay. So at least I know that I'm going to die in 1 week, but you don't know also when you will die. So you better, chant Hare Krishna and don't waste this life." So by hearing his classes, they were getting so inspired. They all took a mala and they started chanting. So for devotee, they feel so much separation from Krishna that for them, that is like an invitation. For them, death is like a love letter from Krishna. For them, death is an invitation card to go back home, back to Godhead. For the yogis, the death is like a tool to go to higher planets. For a materialistic person, death is like an axe because it's cutting all the material relationship. But for a devotee, death is like an invitation card. I want to go. Krishna has invited me back home, back to Godhead, because they are in separation of Krishna. So here he's saying that all were so moved, and they were like not even blinking their eyes, and they were not even looking here and there, just looking at Krishna continuously. So anyway, we have so many verses. I will not elaborate on this more. So next verse, we'll go to the next verse. The female relatives whose eyes were flooded with tears out of anxiety for Krishna came out of the palace. They could stop their tears only with great difficulty. They feared that tears would cause misfortune at the time of departure. So now the ladies of Hastinapur, they were also crying, and when they were crying, the tears were flowing, and they were thinking, no, I should not cry, because actually, according to our culture, Vedic culture, when somebody is leaving on a journey, at that time, if you cry, it is considered to be inauspicious for that person. So they didn't want to do anything that will cause misfortune to Krishna or inauspicious for Krishna's journey. So even though that they were feeling to cry, they were stopping their tears, that no, nothing inauspicious would happen to Krishna. So they were like we see even the gopis, when they were serving Krishna, tears used to flow continuously, but they used to somehow stop it because they don't want it to be disturbance in serving Krishna. Like Daruka, when he fans Krishna or something, or he does service for Krishna, he's crying for Krishna, but he controls his tears, and no, this tears should not be like an obstacle in service of Krishna. So like that, even these ladies, they were all like trying to control their In purport, Srila Prabhupada says, our intimate relation with Krishna can be confidently revived by our talking, hearing, or remembering him. It is done due to spiritual potency. So here again, Prabhupada is emphasizing that if we want to revive our eternal relation with Krishna, then we should hear about him. We should hear about him. See, Lord is very merciful. When we start associating with the Lord by his katha or in some or the other way, by his form, by his prasadam and all, immediately Lord will protect us no matter whatever we have done in the past, because Lord is very merciful, whereas Maya is very merciless. If we give a little space for Maya and we use our senses in little bit material enjoyment, Maya will very ruthlessly take us away from Krishna. So we have to be very careful. And the only way that we can save ourselves from Maya is to take shelter of Krishna. If we take shelter of something very big and great like Krishna, then Maya can't do anything. Like Srila Prabhupada, once Brahmananda Prabhu was trying to take a crab out of water, but it was slipping. And Prabhupada told Brahmananda Prabhu that you won't be able to do it because the crab is smaller than you, but it has taken shelter of the greater ocean. Similarly, Maya is very powerful, but if we take shelter of Krishna, who is the controller or, of Maya, then the boss of Maya, then only we can overcome this Maya. Sometimes, people try to avoid Maya, but they don't take shelter of Krishna. They may try to be austere and not indulge in materialistic activities, but they don't take shelter of Krishna, then it won't work. It won't last long. If you remove materialistic activities from your life, you'll also have to add spiritual activities to it. Otherwise, it cannot remain empty for a long time. There are only two things. There is Maya or Krishna. There is no in-between path. Like we see in case of Vishwamitra Muni, or we see in case of Saubhari Muni, they were just doing some meditation. Then Vishwamitra Muni, he got disturbed by Urvashi or Ramba or whatever, Menaka. Vishwamitra Muni got disturbed by Menaka. Or Saubhari Muni got disturbed by seeing the fish's mate. So if they don't take shelter of Krishna, but they try to perform some austerities or, some kind of a meditation, it won't work unless they take shelter of Krishna. But we see in the case of Haridas Thakur, he also had a, Maya Devi coming directly and another prostitute coming directly to disturb him. But because he had taken shelter of Krishna, he could very easily overcome. Whether we see in the case of Arjuna also, when he went to the Swargaloka, Urvashi was trying to allure Arjun, but no matter how much he requested, he said, no, you are like my mother. So, how could he do it? Because he had taken shelter of Krishna. So the only way one can be protected from Maya is by taking shelter of Krishna. So here he says that these ladies, they were crying, and all the Hastinapurvasis are in perplexity. They don't know what to do. They're feeling so restless because Krishna is going to leave them. And here they say that they're controlling their tears because they didn't want anything inauspicious to happen. Sometimes if by expressing our feelings, if we're going to cause inconvenience in Krishna Seva, we should control our feelings. It's not necessary that we have to express our feelings all the time. We should be in control of our feelings if it's going to disturb our seva. So that's very important. Next verse, it says that they were mridangas and dola and dundubi and flutes, and so wonderful the whole procession was because Krishna is about to leave. And in the next verse, it says that the royal ladies, they went up in the balconies and up in their rooms, and from there they are seeing Krishna, and they're showering flowers from them, and men are walking below next to the chariot and all. So that was the arrangement those days. And in purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about shyness, how the ladies those days were having this beautiful quality of shyness. They were like somewhere up there, and from there they were looking at Krishna and maintaining the etiquette and decorum. And then here Prabhupada talks about a sweeper woman, and how a sweeper woman, she may not be in a very high class position, but just because she has this level of shyness, she commands respect of people. So, a lady's shyness is her best jewel. Prabhupada talks about again men and women, about butter and fire principle, and how men and women should not mix freely, and how ladies should have that quality of shyness. And then in the next verse, now Sukadev Goswami talks about how opulently Krishna was walking. There is an umbrella on his head, and Arjuna is holding that umbrella, and it was not a normal umbrella made up of plastic or iron. It was a jeweled umbrella. And then Prabhupada talks at how those days people were so rich. I mean, even umbrella was a jeweled umbrella. Anything, chariots or shoes or everything was full of precious gems and jewels. Then in the next verse, he talks about Uddhava and Satyaki, how they were fanning the Lord, and how the flowers were scattered everywhere on the road. Everything was looking so beautiful. And then there were benedictions given to the Lord, because Lord is paying obeisances to the sadhu. So they are, okay, Shubhayatra, okay, be safe, all are blessings. So here in this verse, it says, is it correct? Or that the Supreme Lord is getting blessed, who is the source of all auspiciousness? They're blessing him. May everything be auspicious. So what is this blessing? These benedictions were not befitting. Or you can say actually they are befitting, because here Krishna has taken a role of a normal human being. So yeah, it's befitting. They're all blessing him with love and affection, but actually they're not befitting, because he's a Supreme Lord. What does he require a blessing from anybody? Then in the next verse, it says that the ladies, of Hastinapur, who were up there in their balconies, they started doing Sanjalpa, not Prajalpa, Sanjalpa. They were talking about the Lord, and they're talking to each other, and they're talking so sweetly that it is more sweeter than the Vedic hymns, because they're talking about Uttama Shloka, they're talking about Krishna. So now they started praising Krishna. Oh, this Krishna who is walking there, he is the source of Narayan. He's the source of Mahavishnu. Oh, they're talking all that, Oh, he's a source of all energy. And by his potency, this whole material nature is created. So like that, they're actually doing stuti, all these Hastinapur ladies. He is the same personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees. And the only way to purify our existence is to surrender to him. And then they say that they're talking among themselves, oh dear friend, this personality of Godhead, he's so attractive, and his confidential pastimes are described in the Vedas and by his great devotees. And he is the one who creates and annihilates and maintains all the three worlds, but he remains unaffected. So like that, they're going on talking about Krishna, and all these kings and administrators, living like animals in the lowest mode of existence. The Lord comes here. They're saying that why does the Lord appear? They're talking about Lord's glories, and why does the Lord appear? Whenever these kings and administrators, they lose their morality and adharma becomes prevalent, then Krishna comes to establish the dharma. So they're talking about his janma karmacha me divyam, why Lord is appears in this world, and about his wonderful activities. And they say that how this dynasty of King Yadu is glorified. Why? Because Krishna has come in this dynasty. So he said, and then they talk about Mathura now. Oh, this land of Mathura is so glorified because the Supreme Lord has appeared there. And he is the Shripati. He is the husband of the goddess of Shrihapati, goddess of fortune. And he has taken birth in Mathura. So that place is so great. Just like the gopis were singing, na? Jayati te dhikam Janmana Vraja Shrayata Indira Shashvadatrahi. They say, oh, this land of Vrindavan is glorious because Krishna is born here. Now the Hastinapur ladies are saying, oh, the land of Mathura is glorious because Krishna is born there. Then they're saying, oh, Dwarka is so glorious. Why? Because in the Dwarka, they get so much association of the Lord. And these inhabitants of Dwarka, they're able to associate with the Lord. And Lord gives special favors to them. He looks at them. He smiles at them. He talks to them. Oh, how lucky, how glorious are the Dwarka people. And then they say, oh, friends, just think about their wives. They're so fortunate who has Krishna as their husband. And he maybe they may be sitting with Krishna in fire sacrifices. They may be touching him. They may be decorating him. They may be feeding him. So much opportunity they're getting to constantly relish his association. Oh, they may be touching him. And then they talking about Mathura, talking about Dwarka. Now they talk about Vrindavan. Oh, this Vrajabhumi is so glorious. These gopis are so glorious. So Dwarka ladies, they're actually able to touch Krishna, but the gopis, even by imagining such favors from the Lord only, they faint. So, such is the love of the gopis. Simply remembering Krishna only, they will faint. And like that, they're saying that, the children of these Dwarka wives, they are so lucky. Pradyumna, Samba, and they are the children of Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati. Oh, they are so fortunate. They have Krishna as their father. And these ladies are so fortunate. Krishna has forcibly got them in Swayamvara. And he defeated kings like Shishupala. And these ladies, he forcibly brought them to Dwarka. Oh, these ladies are so glorious. And then they say that these ladies, they have the supreme personality, the lotus-eyed personality as their husband, who never leaves them alone at home. And he's always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentations. Maybe he gives them lots of gifts and accepts gifts and eats with them and shares confidential talks with them. And so nicely they're enjoying with Krishna. So all these things they are talking. While the ladies of the capital of Hastinapur were greeting him and talking in this way, the Lord smilingly accepted their good greetings and casted the grace of his glance over them. So Lord, he's able to hear, right? He's Antaryami. So he's looking at them and glancing and smiling at them while they're talking about Krishna in such a way. And now what happens? Maharaj Yudhishthira, though he had no enemies, what he did, he sent horses and elephants and chariots and armies with Krishna, as if like to protect Krishna, to send him, safely back to Dwarka, though it is not required, but still out of affection for Krishna, no, he should be safe and nobody should. Now Krishna is safe. Krishna is the one who saved them in the war of Kurukshetra, but they want to now protect Krishna. It's because of affection for Krishna. So they say, no, we have to send you, some enemies may attack you. So like that, they made all arrangements. And then these Pandavas, though they are supposed to say, farewell to him and stop, but they're following him and they're looking at him and they're following him. So now Krishna is like, what is this? Do you want to come all the way to Dwarka or what? Now you can go back. Just like, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going to Vrindavan or somewhere, all the devotees in Puri, they will keep on walking and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to tell them, okay, stop. Now you have crossed the Orissa border. Now let me go. You go back. So like that, they have so much affection for him. They're just walking with him and Krishna has to stop them. And Lord persuaded them, okay, now I'll go to Dwarka. Go back. So like that, O Saunaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kurujangala, Panchala, Surasena, the land of the bank of river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Saraswata. So all these places, Lord is, crossing and blessing his devotees and meeting so many people and resting and going and is moving ahead. And then on his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed and worshipped and given various presentations. In the evening, in all places, the Lord suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed after sunset. So as the Lord is passing and going, he's taking rest. And the next day again, he's driving. And wherever he is, he's doing all his Sandhya Vandana and everything, just like a normal king, a normal person has to do. He's setting very good examples. And this way, the Lord is moving ahead, going towards Dwarika. So with this, we ended the chapter 10, Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarika. And tomorrow, we will start the chapter of Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarika. So this chapter is about farewell party. Now the welcome party, how they will welcome Krishna in Dwarka, which will be very, very interesting. Sometimes we see in Bhagavatam that small incidents are glorified in such a big way. Like actually it is a small thing, Krishna leaving Hastinapur. But whole chapter, 36 verses are dedicated. And sometimes something very big, important, or apparently, which seems like maybe just 2 slokas. Because Sukhadev Goswami, he has elaborated whatever is required for us so that we can take the right lessons at the right context and from the right pastime. So Bhagavatam goes on its own pace. We can't we can't even know what will be expanded and what will be briefly explained. So whatever is required for us has been put in a very right way by the author. So thank you so much. With this, I'll end it here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, dear devotees. I never thought I'll be able to actually make it. From yesterday, I have a stomach issue. So I'm simply on coconut water today whole day. So I thought maybe I'll not be able to speak, and I thought I'll end it in 1 hour or something and I'll close it. But I think by all of your blessings and Krishna's mercy, I could speak for so long time. But now I'm feeling a little bit of strain in my throat now because of not eating anything. So I'm already on medications. I should be fine in another 3 days. That's what the doctor said today morning. So I'll end it here and I'll not take questions for now because I'm a little bit fatigued. But by tomorrow, I should be fine. Then I can take questions if there are any. And we'll try to complete the chapter tomorrow. My only request is I'm not sure if I can take it in the morning, the 10 o'clock time. If it's okay that I can take it in the evening, then I should be sufficiently recover by that time, because tomorrow I may start eating some curd rice or something. So that's the plan. Maybe I'll speak with the organizer, Mataji. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for all of your patient hearing. And I'm sorry if I haven't been done, if I have not done justice to this topic, but I didn't have much time for preparation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Just take care of yourself. We pray for your good health.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please set my humble obeisances. Thank you so very much, Mataji, for giving the session. Thank you so much. It's a great blessing to you.
Thank you.